away from her, you bitch!
And that was a clip from the Alien franchise, Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley. Today's topic is going to be badass women in film, and this is Movies the Podcast. This is Brenda.
This is Rob.
This is Jordan.
This is Curtis.
This is Dan.
Dan's back.
Dan never left.
Hold the applause.
Dan's always here, even in spirit.
His spirit.
And I'm here in spirit only. I'm under the weather, so I'm channeling Stockard Channing tonight.
We're actually
in honor of the
Badass
badass women in
women.
the film.
Jordan's actually not in the room.
Speaking of badass women in, I guess, media in general, I think all of us here have pretty much at least watched a few episodes of Orange is the New Black, the new Netflix series. What do you guys, how do you guys feel about it?
Can I represent the con part of this discussion?
It looks like you're going to.
After I represent the pro, because
Curtis,
I love it.
Curtis, have we talked about you prefacing things?
No, I'm sorry. I really did try. I will try any show. I try to watch one show at a time. I can't do too many. And my friends were loving it and told me to watch it. I made it through 3 episodes. It's just not. It's not really funny. It's not really sad.
It's cute.
It's cute. It's cute. I think that's what Chris said. It's the best thing. It's cute. I didn't think there's a lot of weight to it, and there's not a lot of levity to it. And that, I don't know.
It is a little...
Dan's made a critique of it, and it stuck with me the whole time. Why is Laura Prepon so perfect looking? Like, she just shows up, she's like, hey, glamazon. Like, she's leaning on chairs.
Because she's Laura Prepon.
I don't know. So I don't get it.
It's a little gauzy, and it's a little tongue-in-cheek, and it's
weeds.
cute. But I love it. I think that the characters are really interesting. I think you're seeing a lot of sides of female characters you don't typically get to see. And you're seeing characters that are not usually represented in popular culture. You're seeing women of color, poor women. You're seeing women with disabilities, lesbians.
I've seen enough of them.
But I think a more honest portrayal of some of these women's backgrounds and some of their struggles. And what I love is that you're seeing... for those of you who haven't seen it takes place in a women's federal prison. And then through flashbacks, you kind of get to know the characters. You get to know where they've been, and it's kind of interspersed. And so I think there's a transgender character, which I think is really interesting.
Who ends up being trans?
A transgender character who is transgender.
She's trans.
No, I mean, is it a character that we've already met that just...
Yeah. I think her name's...
Sophia.
Sophia.
She does. She's the beautician.
When you meet her, she's post-transition.
Yeah.
And then you kind
Spoiler
of see her
alert.
backstory.
Well, no, I mean, I thought
it's almost immediate that you know it's a transgender
Because
person.
at first I thought, what is this queen doing in prison? How did he get in there? But she's okay.
Yeah.
I think her twin plays her brother. Yeah, that's kind
her
of the...
male, he's still a male. Her twin plays her pre-operation.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's what I don't like. I didn't watch Weeds, but maybe it feels too loaded with issues. Maybe that's what's throwing it.
It's Weeds without the risk.
Well, my brother, my
Weeds
sister and I
wasn't
were
very
watching
funny.
the show, and our brother, we've never really watched Weeds, but our brother loves Weeds, and he came in to watch an episode with us, and he immediately noticed it was kind of the same humor, and he loves it. He's dying. I don't know if he already has, but he is planning to watch the entire season, because I think he fell in love after one episode, but he was kind of lost in the, kind of like as far as we were in the storyline.
I mean, if you're looking to watch the Nelson Mandela story, it's not that. It's
Jennifer Hudson's in it?
It's fluff, and for what it is,
fluffy,
it's
and
fun.
there's some. I think there's some genuinely good actresses. There's some. Kate Mulgrew is
She was good.
Yeah,
is
for
amazing.
for Trekkie geeks. Yeah.
Oh my God, she's incredible.
And I like the lead. She was likable.
They're like,
There's. I mean,
See, that was the only person I liked. I was like, Gwyneth?
No, actually, some of the
Taylor
secondary
Schilling.
characters are who I fell in love with. Don't get me wrong. I understand we're seeing it through her point of view, but it's actually, to me, some of the secondary characters that, make it for me. Like, once you meet, I think you've already met Crazy Eyes.
I love her.
I love her. She's completely quotable.
There's some fun stuff. I mean, it's if you were a fan of Oz, it's a very different
Take
experience.
on it. I think it's a good, and she makes a good point too. Her character, Piper, the main character, when she's telling her mother that I'm no different from these women, and it kind of shows you a point of view of prison, kind of like these with the flashbacks and everything, that these are people that in some instances just made really wrong choices, and they're no different from us.
Well said.
Yeah. And the writers I think they treat people with a lot of respect, and they treat a lot of the issues with with respect. So I'm really enjoying it. I can't wait to finish it.
I would recommend it.
I might keep watching it. I only saw up to the second episode and the red episode, in which I thought I loved her breakdown. Why she ended up punching the chick in the boob because they didn't want to hang out with her.
Any series with an episode called Tit Punch is going to be
or the chickening.
Oh my god, that fucking chicken.
Okay, it's just
if you stick with it, I think like episodes 3 and 4 and 5, you start to kind of get into a little bit deeper
it seems
territory.
fun. It's just you're selling it as this, the show that's encompassing all these different cultures, and it's not like a game changer of a show. It's
No.
But it's well done. I think it's well done, and I think it's another example of Netflix
They're at least
really
doing something.
seeking out some really interesting material, and really showing. I think some interesting stuff.
Isn't it based on how? It's based on
a true story. The main character.
Well, their shows are based on what's been popular on Netflix. And they've taken those points and said, well, people really like Kevin Spacey, David Fincher, Weeds is a big show.
Great. We're gonna have a
Futurama
movie.
Let's create something similar to those worlds.
Starring Sigourney Weaver.
Can we talk about Elysium? I'm
I can't
excited.
I feel like you're going to.
I'm excited to talk about Elysium because A, I didn't see it. B, I'll probably never watch it. I didn't like District 9, and some people do. Some people love District 9.
I love District 9.
I thought its social commentary was like a bat to my head, and I just assumed Elysium would be
Neil Blomkamp, subtle he is not. That is very true.
visually wonderful. I like Sharlto Copley in that film, the lead actor, but I didn't watch it.
Oh,
Did you guys?
I saw it.
Yes.
And
Rob.
loved it.
And
Jordan.
in one corner we have
In this corner.
I think the three of us have like varied degrees of opinion.
Okay, we'll make it short, you three.
I didn't love it, but I did like it. But there was things about it that I wasn't crazy about. For starters, Jodie Foster's accent was like nails on a chalkboard.
No one's back.
Nobody's.
You're just picking that
disagreeing.
shit out of Pepper. That is. I thought she looked amazing, though. Whether you liked the plot or not, Jodie Foster, for a 50-year-old woman, looks fucking incredible.
And I think that's you just proved what the only thing I liked about the movie. The guy has style. The guy knows how to direct a film. Mm-hmm. Visually, both District 9 and this one, they're literally out of this world. The way he put together these worlds that he created. Storytelling-wise, he needs to stop writing his own material. He can start adapting other people's work. I think he has a future as a director, but as a writer, the first one, to me, District 9, it was such a surprise hit that you loved it because it was so surprising. It was so original. It was something new that you were excited about. And this one just seemed like a rehash of that one. And I was like, no, not for me. There was a lot of potential in the film. David Fincher's, or what's his name? The guy who worked on Our Planet. That Fincher or something.
William Fincher.
William Fincher. Sorry, William Fincher's character.
I think he was a little underused.
He was severely underused. I wanted to know more about him because there's moments of his character being so disgusted with this world, but he had to be there. He had no choice but to. I wanted to know more about him, but it's just I didn't like it.
Did we see the same movie?
Yeah.
Which one did you see? That he was disgusted with that world? He was a like
Disgusted
if anything
with
he was
our world.
He was just because it was filled with poor people.
Yes, and I wanted to see more of that.
Oh, not disgusted like he felt it was socially unjust. That
he
he hated being surrounded by dirty.
He just hated Elysium.
Oh, okay.
No, there's that need that he had. Those robots always open doors for him. He had his handkerchief to touch things with. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see more of his character. I thought it was a fantastic character. I didn't think Jodie Foster had any type of depth to her character whatsoever. No.
And she's the co-headliner.
I think you're right on that because it did show you that kind of connection with Elysium and our world because like nowhere else in time do you see where they kind of collide until we get to Elysium.
When you look at it, there's a lot of topics or a lot of issues that I think the film could have done a more remarkable job.
It is pregnant with ideas.
It is, I agree. But at the end of the day, what was the one thing that every character in that movie wanted, other than what's his name, Matt Damon? They wanted power. They wanted control. That's boring to me. The guy who sends him up there, Spider. Why did he want all those codes? He wanted power. And I just
Isn't that America?
Well, it's an interesting movie.
Not a subtle way of
I
putting
liked it because I tend to enjoy movies that have a social justice message, and it is not subtle. It is a 2x4 to the side of your head.
Oh, so it's bigger than.
But I thought it was I liked it on a certain level because I enjoyed that juxtaposition and that presentation of people's lives as science fiction when it's actually what is already happening right now. And so it's interesting. I read in an interview that Neil Blomkamp gave. Elysium is the space station, and Earth. They filmed the Earth scenes in the slums of Mexico City. They filmed the Elysium scenes in the richest neighborhood in Mexico City. They're filmed in the same city. Those people live in the same place. The poorest people on Earth and the richest people on Earth live in the same city. And it's that commentary and seeing that. And I saw it in Wichita, Kansas.
What was your audience like?
White people everywhere.
Wichita's kind of in between both worlds.
I know. It is it's Elysium. But I felt so dirty because I watched it at this theater.
Elysium adjacent.
Well, they have this theater that's kind of like Alamo Drafthouse.
But less.
But you can pay a regular price and sit at the bottom and watch like a regular movie, but you
Yes.
can pay a little bit more to sit and and I was sitting up there like being handed an ice cream sundae by like a uniformed waiter watching Elysium. I was like, I feel dirty. I feel like I'm on the space station. I often feel like Jodie Foster.
You're
And
like,
I did.
I didn't enjoy the
Even
Sunday
in the
any
Brave
less,
One?
but I felt bad.
I wanted to like throw my ice cream sundae down into the seats below and say, let them eat ice cream.
And instead, they're thinking that 1%er just threw that ice cream
What
at
is that
us.
fat white boy doing up there?
He's giving up ice cream. What's going on? So I think you guys make a really valid point, and it's true. Like some movies do make a great social message. Like you look at Precious, like God, that social message is really like stamped up on you. But there's a lot more surrounding it storytelling wise. So from what I can tell, it's kind of like if you're with the message, if you're hip with it, then you liked it. And
it
if you're more
it
like
had a lot of potential. It had
Yeah.
so much
I
potential.
Rob was
I'll
so
agree with that.
excited, I think that might have been it too.
And I hate the fact that 100 years later, fucking dubstep still survives.
You know what? I think that was another thing too. I don't think I had these really high expectations. Even though I love District 9, I just kind of went in there thinking, oh, it's another, great summer movie. So, I mean, I wasn't crazy about it, but I don't think I had the high expectations that Rob did. And I remember you came out of there disappointed.
I had 0.
I know somebody wasn't disappointed with Blue Jasmine.
Oh, I know.
Nice.
I
We'll have to talk about that
semi-adored
later.
But I can get into that for an hour.
We only have an hour on this podcast.
I did see.
Let's let Curtis just talk for an hour
About Blue
later
Jasmine.
about
I can.
About Blue Jasmine.
I will.
It's Curtis, the podcast.
Me and Kate Blanchett, if we could just talk to each other, they can cut the movie like she and I are
That'd be
talking.
awesome.
No, I did see Jenny, who's a guest host with us, suggested a movie to me because she and I, obviously, if you've listened to any of the podcasts we work together, like everything was like, yes, I love it. So she told me about a movie I'd never even heard of, which is always amazing to me. It's from the 30s. It's called The Scarlet Empress. It's with Marlene Dietrich. It does not realize what decade it was. It thought it was 2010 because that movie was so explicit. I mean, it's about this young girl. It kind of follows the story of Marie Antoinette. This young girl is kind of given to a duke to marry because he's next in line for king, and they want him to, make some babies. She falls in love with one of the guards. They check her to make sure she's a virgin. She sleeps around with the guards. I mean, it was very...
What year was it?
1934.
Was
And
it
it was
before the
no,
Hays
it was
Code?
post Hays
Hays
Code,
Code,
but
okay.
it was in Europe.
Oh, okay.
And you can see why Anne Hathaway wants to play the part now, but it's just I know because she's a victim.
Jordan, just remember, Kristen Stewart.
She's better than Kristen Stewart.
Okay, there you go. So it was such a daring, dark film. I was just astounded by it, and Jenny had kind of prepped me and said there's a little bit of camp, and there was a little bit of camp, but
Is it in English or is it?
it's in English.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never really seen anything with Marlene Dietrich as a star, only like supporting parts. And
Oh, you should see Witness for the Prosecution.
okay, see, I've seen like Touch of Evil and stuff like that, but she was fantastic. And I won't give any more of the plot away because the character she plays ends up becoming a very important person in history that you'll have to watch the movie to find out. And when you find out who she ends up becoming, you're like, it blows your mind that really happened.
Hillary Clinton.
I would love it if Hillary did that.
She just becomes Diane Lane.
For real. I wish. But it was just it was funny that we were talking about this tonight because that was a badass female character who kind of started as a victim but got strong and really pulled it together. So I think it's it's kind of good that I watched it the week that we're actually talking about this.
Speaking of this, let's go ahead and get into our topic. It is...
Get into it.
Is that a segue?
Yes, it was.
We're segging.
What's it called? We're talking about baddest women in film. We started off the show with... we started off with Sigourney Weaver, which...
we all can all agree on.
Yeah.
Even in Galaxy Quest.
Even in Imaginary Heroes.
And I did want to I wanted to focus on not just physically badass characters, because usually when you look it up, or a lot of times when you think about badass, you think about somebody who's kind of like can kick ass or something like that. And I mean, I always think across the board. You guys kind of actually got me thinking. I listened to the sequels episode that we recorded a while back, and I actually wasn't able to make it, but Jordan had brought up a good point with Clarice Starling.
Hear that, Rob? Jordan brought up a good point.
It happens once in a while.
Oh, they got up on you.
Clarice.
Tag team and Jordan.
Burn. They burn.
I didn't even have to say anything.
Shut up, bro.
Anywho, we brought up Clarice Starling, Jodie Foster's character in Silence of the Lamb. She doesn't really have like a romantic counterpart, which isn't necessarily, you know, a bad thing, but the fact that that didn't really define her character.
And it's very rare to see in films. It seems like screenwriters want you, if you have to believe a strong character or a female character has to have some kind of a man.
It needs to have some
or a
aspects that are
weakness.
relatable to other women.
Yeah, and some women relate to a woman going to work.
Exactly.
Jessica
And so,
Chastain, Zero Dark 30, anyone?
Yeah, and they're...
Only you related to her. Oh, I go run down Osama bin Laden all the time.
I said, I'm coming to get him. My hair's red.
But it is, I mean, and those performances, it's really, you notice how often it doesn't happen that you have a woman who's a strong woman in a movie, or a weak woman who isn't defined just by her relationships with men.
And the funny thing is, one of the performances, and in turn the actress that first came up when I was thinking about this podcast was Emma Recchi. If you guys, it's in Italian, but if you've ever seen the movie I Am Love with Tilda Swinton, I love it. I love Tilda Swinton in general. She's such a great actress. I love her character. She has such a range. This character for me, and it does have to do a lot about her romantic life, but and normally in real life I don't necessarily condone cheating, but
Not necessarily.
Wait, normally?
Not normally.
In this occasion,
but with this character,
Get it.
you see her. She's a Russian immigrant, and she's learned the language. She's completely assimilated into this really wealthy Italian family, and she's all about her family. Her husband, her 3 children, and she happens to meet one of her son's friends, who she kind of ends up falling for, and all her choices and what she goes through the rest of the film, I think just made her a badass. I mean, she's slightly flawed, and it's not necessarily the fact that she's going from one man to another, or staying with the man she's with. It's not so much about that. It's just like her choices and what she's being true to herself in the end.
it's not even about, and I won't give away the ending, but that last 10 minutes of that movie, if it does not take your breath away, you're dead. It's
The movie itself, it's stunning.
gorgeous. That man knows how to direct a film. But
Who's the director?
Luca Guadagnino. They worked together on it. I can't remember. But and the funny thing is, and Brenda brings up a good point. It is about another man, but it's not.
That's not the
I don't
point.
know how to say it without giving away the ending. But
I think we've given away spoilers.
you don't know how. Let's just say you don't know what she ends up doing with her life, but you know that she makes a choice.
Right.
And I loved it because when she makes that choice, it's just like it breaks your heart, and
you feel like she's changed in the process.
something happens, and it's also too, it's a weird gay movie in a way, which is unexpected.
Yeah.
She kind of finds out her daughter's a lesbian, and it kind of opens her up in a way that she was really unexpected, and changes the whole course of her life. But you're right, it's such a great pick. She's such a badass in that movie.
Yeah,
Tilda Swinton's a badass.
In general, that's a good point with the daughter. I almost feel like the daughter kind of taught her something, because the daughter ultimately is being true to herself.
There's a scene, and she doesn't even tell her daughter, I know you're gay. She finds pictures of her with her girlfriend, and she just brings him to her and kind of, I don't think she says anything. Basically, she's like, I've seen these. And the daughter just sits there and looks at him with her. And it's just this tender scene. It's not a coming out scene. It's like, I'm in love. It's a fantastic. I'm always trying to get Rob to watch it.
Yeah, the whole movie, if you think about it, it's
Well, I want to
almost,
watch it on the big screen.
You do.
Oh, yeah.
You
It's actually one of
do.
the last films I saw at the Angelica.
Me too. Yeah.
It's kind of subtle but powerful at the same time.
So powerful. And it's food porn.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Total food porn.
Because the quote-unquote other man is a chef, so yes,
He
total
creates
food
her
porn.
this
And it's
meal
in
that
Italy,
you
yeah.
swear she had an orgasm eating that food. And they film it like that, like a sex scene.
I have had many orgasms eating food. I will say I am banned from Red Lobster for that very reason.
Those Cheddar Bay biscuits.
We ran out of napkins.
Anyway.
Fantastic pick.
You just set that up, didn't you? Set it up.
Another character, and I know the actress, the jury's still out on her for some people. She's still pretty young, and I think she's done great roles until now. Jennifer Lawrence, and my introduction to her was
rolling
with,
your eyes, Curtis.
I'm not. I'm okay with that.
my introduction to her was
Is it Winter's
with
Bone?
Winter's Bone.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Boner.
I think she did a great job, and I think the character, that is a big part of it, that she's so young and she has to go through all of this, and she does it for her siblings. I think it was great.
I'm down with that movie.
Did you guys see that underground movie, The Hunger Games?
Yeah.
That small independent film.
I think the first one was kind of independent. I think the first one had a low budget.
It's Lionsgate, so they're the last independent studio.
Yeah, I was gonna say those Twilight and those movies like that have low budgets for the first one. That's why they look so cheap the first time out. Anyway, sorry, sidebar.
Oh, real quick sidebar. I can't believe why she didn't come up in, why I didn't think of her before, but you brought up Marlena Dietrich. I think she's fantastic. One of the first films I saw her in was Witness for the Prosecution, and I didn't know this until afterwards, but she kind of plays a sex symbol in the film, and to find out it was back then, and
Marlena Dietrich does
she was
that
in her
too?
50s when that film came out, and she looks fantastic, and the fact that she's kind of playing like a sex kid in it at that age.
I've been reading up on her, and
She's such an interesting
oh my gosh,
person.
she
just as an
entertained the
actress.
troops, and Jenny told me the story. She entertained the troops, and she offered to sleep with any of them.
And she would have.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And she said, "I love having sex with women. It's better than with a man, but then you have to live with the woman." She was really disappointed by that. Which, as gay men, barely live with that.
She didn't like to U-Haul.
She used to get that you hot hair.
I bet she was banned from Red Lobster.
Rob, what were some of your picks for characters and actresses or badass women in film in general?
Well, listen to you guys kind of go over Tilda Swinton. I do have to. I know we mentioned we need to talk about Kevin before, but that film, what she goes through. Have you guys all seen that movie?
No, and I need to. I love Lynn Ramsey, and I love Tilda Swinton.
Have you seen it, Jordan?
I've seen it, yeah.
That's so fantastic.
Basically, the film is about this mother, a relationship between a mother and her son, and how that relationship never became something more. It never became that what you normally think of your relationship with your father or your
The same
mother.
terms of endearment.
It's these two characters are so far apart from each other, and she's tried so much to be a loving mother to this child, and then eventually this child grows up to be this teenager who how would I put it?
I have to catch you on that. She's a terrible mother, I think she hates that
I
child.
think she tried.
No,
I think
she
that there's
tries.
an
No, her character
earnestness to her.
tries. Up until when all that happened, she tried. She tried looking after her, but also it's underlined with how much
Don't
she
listen
hates.
to Robbie. He didn't like Alyssa.
I trust him because he didn't like Elysium, to be honest. I could tell that movie from a mile away.
You're right, actually, Curtis. I saw that she made
There's so much alike.
You're right. She made the attempt to try to be a good mother, but the underlining was she hated being a mother.
Well, I think she
didn't hate him. She
in
hated
her
being
mind, she was trying to be. She was doing everything she thought she should do.
which is basically
From the outside looking
Feed
in,
him.
we said, "You're a shitty mother."
But after
I think for her, her character actually believed she was.
once she
trying.
broke that kid's
Maybe
arm.
she was trying.
I think she stopped trying.
That's true.
When he got sick and he was, "Mom," and the next day he was like, "Bitch." She said, "I'm not playing with this kid. I'll have another baby and I'll take care
hopefully
of that
you out there listening watch this
one."
film.
People
It's-
need to see it.
the way it's told, even though I knew I had spoiled the ending for myself, But even though I knew what was coming, the way it was told, the storytelling behind it, she gives a phenomenal performance.
Yeah.
I also
No Oscar nomination.
I also wanted. I mentioned her character because I wanted to mention Tilda Swinton, but I also, one of the films that I really enjoy watching with Curtis is Notes on a Scandal with Kate Blanchett and
Judi Dench.
Judi Dench.
I risked everything for you, and in return you humiliate me.
No, I didn't mean to upset you, Bob. Please. I need your help more than ever, Bob. Please don't do like this.
You promised to end it, why didn't you?
Because I...
What? You're in love? And the child? Do you imagine he reciprocates your soppy feelings? Oh, I dare say he's fascinated by the neurotic compulsions of a middle-class lady with marital problems. There's nothing crueler than the adolescent boy, I know them. Once he's had his fill, he'll discard you like an old rag. You're not young! I say this to help you.
You know, to me, this homework was about finding characters that I felt were fearless characters, not necessarily strong characters. There's some of these characters, you know, Kate Winslet in Eternal Sunshine. She's a damaged character, but she played it damaged good in that one.
Like there's more depth to them. I mean, they don't necessarily have to be like killing men or kicking ass or, you know. Although I do love that. You know, I'm a geek through and through, and I love comics and stuff like that. But that to me is not the only thing that makes a badass.
One actress that I wanted to highlight that I think is kind of an underrated, maybe to me underrated because I like to see her in more stuff, is Patricia Clarkson. I
agree.
love Patricia Clarkson, and I was going through her IMDb page, and she was in she did a phenomenal job in Shutter Island.
Oh yeah.
Good Night and Good Luck, The Dying Gold, Dogville, and Pieces of April, which is one of my personal.
She was great in
favorite.
High Art as a
Yes,
German
she
lesbian
was.
junkie.
A German, yeah, that enough is right there. I love Chola.
I've never seen which
High
was that
Art?
one? High Art. I've never
It's
seen High Art.
fantastic.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Those, you know, that's Barbara from Notes in a Scandal, Eva from We Need to Talk About Kevin, are two characters that I think are just awe to watch them because they're strong characters, but they're also just broken in so many ways. And Patricia Clarkson, I just like to make a big shout out to her because I think more people should cast her, more people should see her films.
Yeah.
Agreed. Sorry, I'm
Curtis.
correcting myself. Well, there's so many people. I think it was really cool what you guys are saying too. It's not always about the hero because we could all, of course, pick Sigourney and Clarice Starling and just people that or at least do interesting work. And I thought, and I might get some booze on this one, but hear me out. Angelina Jolie.
Okay, good.
I think we forget.
Well, my picks.
No, I will.
I'm just
I
kidding. I'm
totally
teasing.
agree with
You know,
you.
we forget this is the person who did George Wallace, Chia, Girl Interrupted, and then said, you know what, I'm gonna do Tomb Raider. I mean, and I know it's an action piece, but she always has a sense of humor in that film, and I think there's a glint in her eye, like this is ridiculous, but it's fun, and I like that. And then
It's Uma Thurman in Batman and Robin. She knows it's campy.
She knows, yeah, she knows what's going on. You don't know, and you're obviously not getting it. She knows there's going to be toys based on her, but then to do Changeling and A Mighty Heart.
Oh, I love A Mighty Heart.
Yeah, and I feel like that's fearless to me. Yes, we could say, oh, it's fearless. Like, I love Julianne Moore. I'm not going to talk bad about Julianne Moore, but yes, it's fearless because she plays ugly people and people that are mean and people that are sad, and that is fearless. But isn't it a little fearless to do something like Tomb Raider after Girl Interrupted?
I think in general,
It's more about your mortgage that you have to pay. Right?
it also goes to
I don't think
kind
Angelina's
of
worried about that.
like the principles of, like, I think feminism. As long as I think these women are playing things or, you know, making choices, you know, their own choices, I'm fine with that. Like, you know, if there's like the concept that maybe like a housewife can't be a feminist. If she's true to herself, she's not just
Betty Draper.
exactly. Then, you know, I would not call her a you know, she's not a feminist because
We
she's
were
a
all
housewife.
there waiting in
And
line
with
till
these-
we see Tomb Raider.
And with Tomb Raider, it's not that, you know, it was her choice. It was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. It's entertaining.
both of them.
I wouldn't knock her for doing it.
No, and I think, like I said, or what did you say?
Well, no, and it's interesting to think like you might not say that about a male actor who might do something really deep and powerful, and then a couple of, you know, art house films, and then do an action film.
I think people discredit actors like Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis.
Do you think he gets discredited
Yes.
for that?
I mean, he did The Sixth Sense, which we look now back on it, but that was an independent movie. I'm sure he made some money, but I mean, Bruce Willis has done some affecting work. It's weird for us to think, but no, I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that's what's great about people like Daniel Craig who can go back and forth.
Right.
The other ones I was saying, this one's so recent, and I love this film. I'm unabashedly in love with The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the Fincher version. I love the character of Lisbeth Salander. In all incarnations, I just think Rooney Mara played it the best to what I've read and what I know.
Once you can sit again, which could be a while, I admit, we're going to go to my bank and tell them that I alone have access to my money. No. After that, you will never contact me again. Each month, you will prepare a report of a meeting we will never have. In it, you'll describe how well I'm doing, how sociable I'm becoming. Then, you will negotiate with the court to have my declaration of incompetence lifted. If you fail, this video will spread across the internet like a virus. Nod. And if anything should happen to me, if I get run over by a car, if you run me over with the car, this will upload automatically. Nod that you understand.
And then I guess my biggest one, I want to say Thelma and Louise.
No, I think I totally
That
agree.
is an amazing film.
I know, but when I was looking at the list of sort of badass female characters, it came at a time when, you know, I mean, these actresses were kind of on the fringes back then. We forget that Gina Davis and
Susan Sarandon
were not as famous as they are now. And Susan Sarandon specifically doing Bull Durham, The Client, Lorenzo's Oil, Dead Man Walking. I mean, she could play a strong, flawed character. So honestly, I suggest if you want to see a badass woman, go through Angelina Jolie or Susan Sarandon's filmography, and you will get something interesting, to say the least.
for sure.
Yeah.
And Jordan, how about you?
I made my list of.
Top that, Jordan.
Top me, Jordan.
I very rarely top anything. Thank you for setting that up so beautifully. That's not true. Red Lobster. I am melting over here.
Butter
I am
sauce.
so sick right now.
I'm gonna boil that microphone when we're done.
Please
do.
Please.
Oh. I'm sitting across from
Curtis,
Jordan.
there's enough bleach right now in Curtis's anus. He could just sit on it and disinfect. So,
It was last week.
you should have liked Elysium. I made kind of a list of like strong female characters. I realized there was like a theme coming together that they're all in Tarantino films. And I think Tarantino's a director.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
Which we totally support.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And Tarantino, of course, is one of my. I've talked about him before. He's one of my favorite directors. I feel, as a director, he really directs women well. I think his characters are really strong women. Of course, Beatrix Kiddo in Kill Bill 1 and 2, Uma Thurman's character, and a lot of the women in those characters, Vivica Fox's character and Lucy Liu's character. These are strong women.
Elle Driver.
Michael Madsen's character,
oh
I
my
mean,
God.
as a post-op, right?
Is he
Sort
post-op?
of.
Yeah.
Too soon. No, and of course, Daryl Hannah, like incredible, and just some interesting women. And then
Can we just cue to her going?
I was in a sidebar. I was somewhere. I don't remember where I was. Like a building, and there was like me and like one other person, and they were whistling that. I was like, "This is so creepy." I've got. Sorry, I'm just like schwitzing everywhere. So, and another film.
She's always yeah.
And another film of his, Jackie Brown, which is with Pam Grier.
Melanie?
Jackie?
Hey girl, what's up?
Hey, are you getting that suit?
Yeah, you like it?
Looks really good on you.
You got something for me?
You betcha.
I put a cherry on top. Booyah. What the fuck did Ordell ever do for us, huh?
Is an amazing, and Bridget Fonda's in it, and she's really great. But Pam Grier's character is just—it's one of, I think it's top 2 favorite.
Bridget Fonda?
I like her
character's
character.
cute.
It's a good characterization. She's
fun.
dumb, but she ain't that dumb.
It's a
I
fun.
like that.
He uses women very well in film, and there are a lot of directors that do, but I think he uses women really well. And you look at like Shoshana Dreyfus in *Inglourious Bastards*, and that's a character that is an incredible, just a powerful woman. And and you look at Mia Wallace again, Uma playing Mia Wallace in *Pulp Fiction*, and you do have that really weird French girl, who I hate. The one in Pulp Fiction, Bruce Willis'
Mia
girlfriend.
Medeiros. They were in
But-
Honey in June together.
I don't know.
I think, in real life, she's actually Portuguese.
Can
Oh,
we
is she
also
Portuguese? Oh, she's horrible.
Portuguesa. Can we also say too? And
What
Rob
if
and I
he's
really like
rattling
this
on about
movie.
a pot belly?
Yeah, for real. Rob and I like this movie, but we can't get anyone else to love it. But Death Proof. It's all about women.
I love Death Proof.
I adore Death
Proof.
Proof.
Is amazing.
It's
And
the dialogue is.
there's some amazing female characters. So I mean, you find there are certain directors I think that really appreciate women, write good female characters.
Empowers them.
Almodovar.
Almodovar too.
Almodovar does.
I mean, we can't. It's.
I mean, Woody Allen does.
We're contractually obligated to mention.
Almodovar.
He actually funds our podcast, so we have to.
He might.
Papa Pedro, we have to say hi.
Hey, Papa
Pedro. That's awesome.
But we have to say, and just but Tarantino, I think he really just he enjoys directing women. I think they're women that use their sexuality in a empowering way. You look at characters like Daryl Hannah's character, who's this bombshell but a badass.
I will sidebar you there for a second. There was an interview when Kill Bill came out, Kill Bill 2, and it was an on-air interview, and this critic was trying to rip into Quentin Tarantino about his female characters. This is promoting violence among young girls, blah, 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 right? And he goes, you know what? I'd rather my daughter watch this than The Hills.
Yeah,
and I thought,
sure.
These are strong, powerful women. I mean, yes, they're killing people, but men are killing people left and right.
Every movie is about someone killing someone.
Every movie is about adultery or somebody getting killed.
Right.
Like, find one.
I'm waiting for
Finding Nemo.
I'm waiting for Tarantino to direct Tilda Swinton in something that.
Oh, my mind
maybe
would be
in Kill Bill
blown.
3 she
Oh
can
my
play. She can play
God.
Beatrix Kiddo's mom or something.
That would be like dream casting. He's made lists of Quentin Tarantino watches a lot of movies still, and he still makes his top 10 every year. He still has his list of actors he'd want to work with. He put Madonna on there, which I thought was interesting. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I love him and I love what he does.
Yeah, nobody's brought her up, and my sister would kill me if I didn't bring her up, but Princess Leia.
Really?
Why not?
Well, she's been brought up, and now we can move on.
Okay, now we can move on.
Sorry, Diana.
But we can even,
Papa Pedro does not like Star Wars. We're not allowed to talk about Star Wars.
I think what's cool when you were talking about people writing really good female characters, and when I started thinking of like behind the scenes females, I do think, I'm not going to say Sofia Coppola because I don't think her female characters are that strong. I think her male characters are stronger. But Nicole Holofcener, she did Friends with Money. She's about to do the new one with James Gandolfini.
And Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
And Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She writes some
Let's not
tight
forget Julia
female
Louis-Dreyfus.
characters. I will never forget Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Lisa Cholodenko did High Art. Laurel Canyon. She did...
Oh, you guys are bringing up talk about Kevin? Yeah, Lynn Ramsey.
Lynn Ramsey did, yeah. I mean, so there are some great female. There was one other one, but I think women write some good women sometimes. There was Catherine Bigelow. I mean, Hurt Locker.
Oh, Jane Campion, like
I love
Holly
Jane
Hunter
Campion
and
does.
the piano.
The Portrait of a Lady, Jenny.
Once her Jenny's just like gasp.
Jenny's good. Woo, she felt it. I mean, holy smoke, she did In the Cut with Meg Ryan's last good movie. When her face was
Her first and last good movie.
I know.
She did The Women.
Oh, yes, she did.
No, we don't
she?
talk about that. That's the same one who did Murphy Brown. The same person who did Murphy Brown did. Lena Dunham writes fantastic female characters.
For sure.
So there are some women around there kicking around.
What do you think about as a writer, and now that, obviously we haven't seen her directorial debut, but because I always get like mixed reviews on her, but Diablo Cody?
I have to say I've liked everything she's written.
Yeah.
I think
like
it's pretty
Jennifer's
wizard.
Body. What? I didn't even get it. I like Jennifer's Body. I love young adult. I do think she's a fantastic writer. I don't know. I mean, I just finished the book for Scarlett Johansson's directorial debut. It's a Truman Capote book that was found in the trash when he was moving. And somebody stole it and published it.
Oh.
And so she's going to do the directorial debut of that. It's a slight book, but...
She's a slight lady.
I know. Scarjo. It's
I guess
true.
that we bought a zoo money's running out.
Speaking of... the Avengers money, she's got some money. Okay. And she married to somebody cute. There was one other one. We talked about him a little bit earlier. Lars Van Trier.
Oh, yes.
Come on.
She's lovely.
How many...
Isn't it
say what
true?
you will about him as a person in
I
real
don't
life.
care how he... Yeah.
But I think he's had like really awesome female characters.
Antichrist. Melancholia, Breaking the
Breaking
Waves,
the Waves.
Dogville.
Yes.
I mean, he's made some...
Dancer in the Dark.
Dancer in the Dark. I always forget. He's done some fantastic
Like, you might hate the shit out of him afterwards, but he'll pull a good performance out of you. Like, I love Bess McNeil, Emily Watson's character in Breaking the Waves. It was her film debut. Apparently, I forget who was supposed to... Somebody else was supposed to do it.
I'm gonna remember it. It's like Helena Bonham Carter or somebody stupid like that.
And she was pregnant, right? And then so it ended up being...
stupid like that.
ended up being Emily Watson. And she's not...
She could have played the part pregnant.
You know how to really rile up Jordan over here.
I'm sorry.
And I'm sick. You're beating up on me when I'm sick.
You're going to get me sick.
Jordan keeps pointing at me. I have no idea what the fuck he wants me to do.
He's got a
First
lobster
off,
for you.
Princess, it's not you. I was printing Brenda. I'm sorry. The world doesn't revolve around you sometimes.
That's not a sidebar.
You're not allowed to call me that unless you're inside me.
Can we insert a...
I give it time.
Can we insert a clip?
Idaho does not agree with that statement.
Can we insert something?
We'll just edit this part out.
Iowa.
Actually, I was going to bring up something. I just recently found out about this. I might be butchering it, but there's something called the Bechdel test. And Bechdel?
Yeah.
Okay. It's from a comic called Dykes to Watch Out For from 1985.
Alison Bechdel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I don't know why I'm so behind on that. But apparently it has three
I'm
criteria.
a better lesbian than you.
It's like, she's not gay.
I'm still a better lesbian. Just ask the waitstaff at Red Lobster.
We'll get you a sticker. we'll get you a sticker. Best lesbian on this podcast.
It's like with me and Tegan and Sarah. I'm barely catching on to that train.
I know. I can't believe that.
You bitches. Could you focus? Dan, can you edit for the next 2 minutes?
Just put like a clip of a Tegan and Sarah song.
Yeah, just put a clip of a big wrecking ball.
And a vagina.
Anywho,
and we're back.
The three criteria for this these rules are one, it has to have at least 2 named women in it, so it can't be like extras that you have no idea what their name is. 2, they have to talk to each other, and 3, it has to be about something else besides a man.
And does Copycat count? Sigourney Weaver, there's kind of a semi-romance, but they're just working together.
I think they mentioned the serial killer, but I don't think they're always talking about him. So
no.
I think something like that would definitely pass the test.
I adore
and
Copycat.
it's interesting to see how many movies don't pass the test.
Because that's how I found out about it.
Yeah.
I think I saw an article for how many blockbusters this summer passed it, and I think it was like 2 out of 10 or something like that. The top 10 blockbusters.
Yeah.
That they don't even talk to each other. That's awesome.
Which I think is and you see movies like you're talking about Zero Dark 30. I think one of the best relationships in that film
was the 2 female
is Jennifer Ely and who I love, and Jessica Chastain. That background relationship is so amazing, and it's very subtle, and it's just in there and adds a lot of heart. And so those films that might not even be about anything where you think that would happen, it's really interesting to see that those kinds of things happening.
And that's what we call dead air.
I can talk about Red Lobster again.
Please wrap it up.
All right, guys. This has been our episode of Badass Women in Film. If you want to give us your opinion, find us on Facebook, Instagram, and the Twitter at Movies the Podcast.
Twitter.
This has been Brenda.
Rob.
Uma Thurman.
Jessica
Chastain.
And Jennifer Ely. And Jordan. And Papa Pedro's calling me. I've got to call him back. He is pissed.